from the Energy Boutique with your energy forecast for March 2022. So on Sunday, March 6th, we have a pretty rare event taking place between Venus and Mars. Of course, Venus, the feminine divine energy, ruling over love and relationships, money, worth, values, and Mars, the masculine energy, the god of war, ruling over our physical energy, our drive, our passion, and our desires, are moving into Aquarian energy hand in hand, and then will conjunct before the feminine divine Venus goes ahead and takes the lead. We have to backtrack a little bit though. Venus, as you know, moved into Capricorn back in December. This definitely highlighted where it is that we needed to boss up and deal with some of our internal power struggles. She went retrograde in Capricorn. She did a dance in the underworld with Pluto, the god of the underworld. She had to strip down her layers and really humble herself to figure out what it is that she needed to do in her earthly realm to align with her power, to align with her intuition, to do what is right for her. Venus, while retrograde, definitely created an energy in our physical realms where our values were changing. Why? Because our worth was changing. Why? Because we had to look at our self-esteem, at our confidence, recognizing where in our relationships the power struggles needed to end. Venus came out of her retrograde and was not really up to her magical self. And because of that, on the 16th of February, we had our full moon in Leo, activating the heart chakra, activating a full release of the energy, the weight that we've bared on our heart space. And Venus and Mars, the masculine and feminine divine energies, came together. They met up in the cosmos. They spend an entirety chasing each other throughout the cosmos, only meeting up about once a year, every 13 to 15 months, and usually only for a 2 to 3 day period. This time, though, they have been very, very close with one another. Mars, the masculine energy, went ahead and took Venus's hand under the full moon in Leo and led her into a brand new reality. So for many of us, we have been experiencing an internal shift. We have had a lot of realizations on what it is we no longer want to be in alignment with, what it is we no longer want to experience, especially where love, relationships, and money are concerned. Now, Venus, because she was still in her shadow period up until a couple of days ago, she was taking a back seat. Mars, the masculine energy, was basically saying, hey, let me take the lead on this. Let me push through the obstacles. Let me push through and take action, making sure that we are cutting out the elements that are holding us back and making sure that we are aligning with a path, with a reality that is actually going to mirror back the realizations, the worth, the confidence that we now have within us. So Venus, the feminine divine energy, she welcomed that. She let the masculine energy lead. Venus and Mars have been working very closely with one another, but they were also working very closely with Pluto. Pluto, of course, the god of the underworld, really focused on transformation. How do we transform? Well, we have to look at the ugliest part of ourselves. We have to sit in the depths of our darkness. We have to look at our pain, our suffering, our struggle, and we have to make a choice on whether or not we are going to set up camp there in that victimhood mentality, or whether or not we are going to let our pain and our struggle inspire us, act as the catalyst to motivate us to make a huge change. Pluto wants us to stand in our power. He wants us to stand in a new place of authority, taking control over our lives instead of sitting back and letting life happen to us. Venus, the feminine divine energy, she is more receptive. She would prefer to sit back and go with the flow. She would prefer to trust the universe, to trust her intuition, and just sit back and let the elements that are coming her way come to her. Mars is not having any of that. Mars wants to aggressively pursue, take action, to go after what it is that he wants, what it is that he desires. And this particular energy, especially working in tandem with Pluto, definitely leveled us up. It gave us a reset button. It empowers us to go after what it is that we want. Now, here's the thing. Venus and Mars, and Pluto, of course, they've all been in Capricorn energy. That's why we've seen the government, these bigger systems and authority, big pharma, big tech moves, big ruling structures really take a lot of power and really see a lot of change, because Capricorn energy does rule over the authoritarian, bigger systems, bigger foundations. And here's the thing, that time, that clock is running out, because Venus and Mars today are leaving that Capricorn energy behind and moving into Aquarian energy. Aquarian energy is an air energy. It rules over our highest octave of our mental plane. It is when we receive divine guidance, divine inspiration, aha moments, ideas, moments of genius from the cosmos. And this Aquarian energy rules over the collective. So the Capricorn energy was ruling over these bigger governing systems. Well, the Aquarian energy is giving the power back to the people. The Aquarian energy also rules over technology, so we are still going to see the desperate plea from these bigger government systems trying to push things like VaxPass, like digital IDs, all of these very, very interesting constructs that we kind of have to avoid, like the plague at this point, because they're not rolling them out in a manner that would actually give the power back to the people. But here's the thing. Venus and Mars entering into Aquarian energy, literally 7 minutes of one another, and then conjunct, coming together one final time, is a global awakening. It's a global reset. And this, although that reset button carries a very negative, fear-mongering tone because of the way that it's been used across the globe, we have to remember that the Aquarian energy resets the power distribution and gives the power back to the people. So on the global stage, we are going to see a reset between the masculine and feminine divine energies. We talked back in February under that full moon in Leo that it was activating twin flames. It was activating soul contracts, bringing our soul family members back into play. But of course, if we were holding on to people that were blocking us, not on the same energy, not on the same vibration, if they were here in our lives blocking us from the right kinds of people moving in, we were going to have to see that follow before we were going to see the pieces of the masculine and feminine divine energy actually come together. So Venus entering into Aquarius, if we just talk about her shifting into this new energy, she is very unconventional in Aquarian energy. We think outside of the box. We're a little bit weird in Aquarius energy. She wants to be a little bit more independent, especially emotionally. We have the tendency in Aquarian energy to kind of detach emotionally and act as the observer, getting our observing situation on the go so that we can align from that particular perspective, drop down into the heart space to see whether or not it actually feels good for us to pursue particular paths, particular relationships, particular outlets for our talents and skills. We crave freedom in Aquarian energy. So where we felt held back, where it is that we felt restricted and blocked, we are now going to attempt to free ourselves, whether that be from a relationship, from a job, from a dynamic, a power exchange that just was not in our favor. Now, we are going to be very focused on the connection in our lives. So our social networks, our working networks, we are connecting with the right people at the right time. This is a time to kind of experiment because we know what it is that we've been doing. We know what it is that hasn't been working for us. And so from this kind of emotionally detached energy, we're able to kind of experiment with some power exchanges and some relationship dynamics that might work better for us than the ones that we were in. This is going to be a really good time to express ourselves in a totally different way. We are going to see the social networking systems take a dramatic shift, take a dramatic transformation, hopefully for the better. But again, that Capricorn energies, those bigger governing systems, are really going to try to put a damper on that as well. They do not want the collective waking up. They sure as hell don't want the collective connecting with one another. That is how we're going to override this system, and they're going to do whatever it is that they can to block us from coming together, from congregating, from the like-minded people, kind of getting together and bringing the collective power back. So Mars in Aquarius, very powerful, but very erratic, very, very shocking energy. Our energy levels, our physical energy levels will be to the nines one day, and then we will not have any energy for a couple of days following. The way that we go about pursuing our passion, our desires, is very erratic. We have to keep our anger and our tantrums in check. We are doing things on the intellectual battlefield, and we are very much outside of the box on the actions in which we are going to take to actually pursue what it is that we desire. We are on the intellectual battlefield right now. We are trying to stay 2, 3, 4 steps ahead from what it is that we are kind of strategically bringing to life. Again, when we were in Capricorn energy, we were thinking about calculated moves and strategy. Well, that's all well and good, except now when you go ahead and you start pursuing this path, pursuing this plan, now we get to improvise a little bit, and we're going to have some great opportunities to just ride the wave of ideas and inspiration as they hit through the highest realms, which of course the Aquarian energy provides us with. So this is going to be a very interesting time for us, especially seeing how, Mars enters into Aquarian energy first. 7 minutes later, Venus enters into Aquarian energy. Then they conjunct one last time, kind of giving us a ripple effect through the global greater stage, the collective stage. We're going to get this ripple effect, this empowerment, this reset and balance energy in our personal lives. And then Venus is going to go ahead and pull ahead and actually start moving away from Mars. Of course, she's faster in orbit. One thing that I find very interesting is that this particular energy is taking place while the moon is void, while being from the moon in Aries that Mars rules over, and shifting into the moon in Taurus that, of course, Venus rules over. It is very interesting to me, this correlation, this connection, that this is happening while the moon is void, moving away from the masculine energy being dominant, moving into the feminine dominant energy. And the very first thing that happens once we lock into the moon in Taurus is that the moon will be squaring both Venus and Mars, creating a tension point, creating a conflicting point in our emotions, because we've reset the scales. We have to kind of take a moment, take stock on where it is that we're at, what it is that we're feeling drawn to pursue, in order for us to kind of get the lay of the land, get our bearings, get our grounding point, before we go ahead and start making some major moves that will align us with the path that our soul actually craves, that our soul actually desires. We have to keep in mind that this is a very interesting time to be alive. Nonetheless, we always have to remember that all planets are direct. All planets are at their fullest speed, at their fullest potential. And so this is going to be a very interesting time, a very powerful time to make some major moves, to go ahead, to actually start aggressing ourselves, asserting ourselves in the path in which we are intuitively being inspired to pursue.